This conference will now be recorded.
All right, thank you, Susan. Seeing that it is 7 o'clock, I'm going to call meeting of Committee of Adjustment 07-2023 to order. Um First item, second item, emergency exits. We're all in our own homes or offices, so if you got an emergency, you know where to go and get out of your house or office fast. Uh, Item number three, conflicts of pecuniary interest. Committee members, if you have any conflicts of pecuniary interest, you can state them now or at any time during the meeting. Number four, approval of the agenda. Jerry or Eric, can I ask one of you to approve it? Or first, let me ask, are there any suggested changes to it? And if
No,
not,
I will approve it, Bob.
And
okay,
I'll
and
second that.
thank you. And since I'm also in agreement, then that's unanimous. The agenda is approved. Number five, approval of the minutes of our last meeting, Committee of Adjustment 06-2023, which was on Thursday, June 22nd of 2023. Susan did send out revised minutes with some changes. I've got no problem with those minutes as they were. That so is everybody? If we're satisfied with that, can I have someone move to approve the minutes of that last meeting, please?
I will so move. No,
Yep. I'll
go
second
ahead,
it.
Eric.
I'll second it.
Okay, moved by Jerry, seconded by Eric. Thank you. Um, One thing I should have said up front uh, is that our meeting is on an online, virtual online meeting. For everybody who is online here, just to let you know, the meeting is not broadcast live like council meetings, but it is recorded. So that people can look at this afterwards. So I just draw that to your attention that our meetings are recorded and are available afterwards. Uh, so with that, I'm sorry, item six is public question period. Also, all of our Committee of Adjustment meetings are open to the public. If there's any public on, if you have any questions, this is your opportunity to ask anything. And
Hey,
seeing
Bob,
none. Yeah, yes,
could I? Dave Carver here. I'm
yeah.
sorry I'm not live. I am at emergency at Headwaters.
Oh
I'm
dear.
gonna have a fairly serious accident and lost a thumb.
Oh,
And going just kicked me out because they couldn't do surgery, but I can't. My vehicle is over the barn. I'm just waiting for other rides. So my apologies, but I have a good excuse for missing my first meeting.
Well, I was just going to say, we do, Dave, we do have a quorum without you.
Okay,
So,
good.
if you need to leave, uh, please do.
Yeah. No, I need to leave right now, but I just wanted to get back to you and let you know. My apologies for missing the meeting and good
Okay.
luck to everyone else.
All right.
good
Dave,
luck to
thank you.
you.
Yeah, good luck with your
Yeah,
situation.
well, that's my situation.
Ay, ay, ay. You can
Yeah.
tell us about it at another date. Sorry to
Yeah.
see that.
It's not meeting news. Thanks. Bye bye.
No. Okay. Susan, you can reflect that in the minutes, please. I saw no public questions, so we're moving on to the applications for our public meeting here. Um, the first application is A as in Apple 05-23. Applicants. I apologize for taking my glasses on and off. I've got to get reading glasses at any rate. Applicants Anthony Felice, I hope I've pronounced your name correct. The subject property is 348509 15th Side Road. Official plan is rural and environmental protection 1, zoning rural A plus environmental protection EP. The purpose, I'm reading from the agenda here, applicant is proposing a secondary dwelling and is seeking relief from section 5. That's either a 1, I think, II, which is a secondary dwelling unit shall only be permitted on lots that have a minimum lot area of 10 hectares, which is 25 acres. And this subject property is 4.02 hectares, which is 9.93 acres. That is the introduction to that. With that, I'm going to ask our Director of Planning, Dave Trotman, to introduce this and give us the information, please.
Thank you, Chair Bob. I apologize. I've only gotten comments from some area residents, not that Susan was belated on sending them to me, but I've been on holiday this week, so I've only had a chance to look at the comments that came in on, well, they must have come in earlier this week, I believe, from some area residents for this application, file A0523 at 384 509 15th Side Road. So we, as with both of these applications, circulated for agency comments. That included the town engineer, the Conservation Authority, Mono Public Works, and the school board. So we did get comments as noted in my report. I think I've given you a pretty fulsome report on this one, as with the other one, I think, as well. But anyway, the first thing is that the area, all of this area, these 10-acre lots, is in a regulated area, so it's a bit of a flood-prone area, notwithstanding the fact that the Conservation Authority has allowed primary houses to go on all, if not most, if not all of these lots in this area along the north side of Side Road 15. And so this application for a second house, although smaller than the primary house, did trigger comments as well from Mono Public Works and from Burnside, the town engineer. So as noted in that report of mine, on page 2, Mono Public Works has noted, well, through this application, there are 2 access points. And Public Works is saying, no, you can only have 1, which is standard policy. And they will allow for 1, make a determination on which one they think is safest, but will require the second one to be closed up. So I've reflected that as a condition in the recommendation. The Conservation Authority, as with their regulated area, will require conditional permit. So that too is reflected as a condition in the recommendation. And then thirdly, the town engineer had comments regarding primarily stormwater, grading stormwater, and stormwater flows across the property. And they've indicated that the management of that stormwater needs to be addressed through this application. This is their opportunity to do it, so that's what they're doing. And their technical comments are reflected as conditions in the recommendation as well. The other aspect of this is that this area, this lot, is in proximity to a livestock facility. And Anthony did put together his own layman's version of that MDS, minimum separation requirement, that is a policy through the OMAFRA, the Ministry of Agriculture. And while I'm sure he may have done a good job, I've reflected it as a requirement for peer review from either a consultant, an expert consultant who does it, or OMAFRA themselves if you can get OMAFRA to do it. So that too is reflected as a condition in the recommendation. Other than that, I mean, that's a key here, because if it doesn't meet MDS, then the house has got to either it's got to move if it can move at all, further away from the livestock barn with respect to minimum distance separation requirements through that OMAFRA policy. So I've reflected that in the recommendation. Now, what is not reflected in this recommendation that is reflected in the other one, because I did get word from Susan about an inquiry through one of our good members here, and I'll quickly explain it now. And the reason I did not put in a 0.3 meter reserve here is largely because the frontage probably won't beget a need for one. Meaning to say that the likelihood of this lot, or any of these 10-acre lots, ever being severed for whatever reason is very, very unlikely. They would never meet any reasonable sense of rural frontage requirements, where the other one we're going to hear about in short order could. So that's why the 0.3 meter reserve conditions applied. But if you read the language in both, it says if the director of Mono Public Works requires it. So if the director says, I don't need it, that condition is self-fulfilled, just so everybody knows. So that's why that is not reflected here. Probably no real need relative to the other one. And sort of even more so with the one we did on the fourth line, Gerber, for reasons similar to the second one we're going to hear about. That's really all I have to say. The standard conditions are at the beginning of the recommendation, and there they flow down to more technical, specific ones, as you can see. I think they're readable and understandable. I'm open to any questions any member may have on this.
Okay, David, thank you. What I should have explained are normal procedures here for people who have not attended a committee adjustment meeting. So I introduced it. David has given his explanations. Next step is for the applicant to say anything that they would like to say on it. Following that will be questions and comments from the committee members. And then after that, if there is anybody from the public that's online, they'll have an opportunity to have questions or comments. So I should have said that at the beginning. I've said it now. With that, Anthony, you're online there. Do you have anything further to say relative to your application that David has not covered, please? Welcome, by the way.
Yep. Sorry, is it my turn?
Yes, sorry.
Yep, no worries. So basically, yeah, so the reason I'm doing this application and this mini home or whatever you like to call it, secondary dwelling, is I've been a volunteer firefighter for Rosemont Fire Department, which covers the town of Mono for the past 4 years. Being a volunteer firefighter, I'm sure you know you have to stay within a certain vicinity of the area, right? So ours is about 13, 14 kilometers from the station. I love what I do. I love the town of Mono. I love the people in it. My dream is to continue doing what I love, to be a volunteer at the Rosemont Fire Department. And with the current housing crisis right now, I'd say, with the average home costing, I'd say about $1 million, it's just unaffordable for me to buy a house in this area. So the reason me doing this is, yeah, I'd love to continue to serve the community I live in and the community I love.
Very good. Thank you, Anthony. So now, committee members, your opportunity to make comments or ask questions. Eric, you were the first online. I'll start with you, please.
Well, David, you know my fondness for the 1 foot reserve, but if you're satisfied that we don't need it here, I can accept that. But I do like that condition.
We could apply it as a more standard provision. I don't know that that's necessary, though, Eric. And admittedly, this is a bit of a creative judgment.
No, and I understand your point on the size of this lot does not. I mean, there's just no way it can.
Yeah, where I've tried to include them is where I think there may be a higher level of threshold of probability of severance down the road, and here I don't see it. Correct.
Yeah, it's just it's my argument that it's the most effective term of meeting the objective of us controlling subdivision.
I agree. I agree.
But anyway, I heard what you said.
Eric,
But I have
any
no other, I
other?
have no other comments.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Jerry, please.
Yeah, no, excuse me. I looked at the site this afternoon. I don't have any problems with that. It seems like it's a need and a good need in today's housing situation and one thing and another. And certainly, Mr. Felice is helping the community out and whatever. So no, I don't have any comments particularly. No.
Okay, thank you, Jerry. My turn. I will be supporting this application. Frankly, I didn't know how the rest of the committee would, be responding to the application. So I had actually prepared a long harangue about the benefit of infilling. And I do want to say this because we did get some comments from neighbors who were concerned about it. Frankly, um, two houses on an almost 10-acre lot is not a subdivision. I live in one. I'm on 3/4 of an acre. If we had 3/4 acre lots, you'd put 13 houses on it. So that my point. I think this is something that we will be seeing more and more of, and it is just straightforward, good planning and good rural infilling. So those are my comments. I will be supporting this application.
David made mention in his comments about about a few years ago when they made the 10-acre lots, and that was a real mistake. So I agree with you, Bob. They're there. They're not going to be any good for anything else. So we might as well use some infilling on them.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, thank you, Jerry. I guess the only question that I had, David,
Yeah,
unmute yourself.
if I may just make one comment, and I did allude to this at the beginning when I presented my report. One of the conditions in here is MDS, and although Anthony's done the MDS calculations himself, and it may be very well correct, I haven't looked at it yet. It needs to be reviewed by a peer consultant, and that I stand by that condition, because if by way of Anthony missing something through the MDS calculation, it doesn't meet it, then it wouldn't meet that OMAFRA policy. So that's easily done. He simply needs to go to OMAFRA and say, check my homework, or go to a consultant and say, check my homework. And I did give him some links to consultants who are experts in MDS calculation. And if he gets a check mark, a green light, then he fulfills that condition. But if not, then of course that would require a shifting of the house, or it may not happen at all. So I want to be clear about that condition, and I simply don't know yet at this point. It may clear that condition, I just don't know yet, and that's why I put in condition number 4 in the recommendation, just so everybody's clear.
Very good. Anthony, I think I'm learning this. Raised your hand. You had something else to say, please?
Oh, yes, just regarding the MDS calculation, I did create my own through the Ontario government website, because when I spoke to David, he did bring up that you can do this report yourself. They have a software for you to do it. I did both of these reports with the homeowners. So we built them out together. I made sure I got all their information. I also used the Town of Mono GIS mapping to get the proper yard size and all that I needed. If I do need to go to a consultant to get this done, I'm more than willing to. I'm just a little confused on the situation, because you have the software out there for people to do it yourself, right? I'll leave that in your guys' hands.
Anthony, thank you. I'm sure you've done it fine. but this is a good condition, and I have no problem with any of the conditions that David has put here. I guess the last question I had, you can see that you have support for this. David and Anthony, Anthony, you've read all these conditions, and that are you in agreement with all of them?
The one condition I believe was the driveway because there's two entrances. I believe that one was brought up. Um, so that one more, I guess, would have to deal with my father, the owner of the house. But we spoke to our neighbor who's lived here for years, and he said that basically that driveway's been put in since 1989. So it was basically put in when the house was built. So when my father and my mother bought this house, the driveway was already currently there. We didn't put it in, we didn't do any of that. So my confusion is why, since it's been since say 1989, why would it be taken away today if the bylaws could have changed, the zoning bylaws could have changed, right? That's where my confusion's coming in.
David, can you please unmute yourself and answer
Sure,
that question?
I can answer that, Anthony, for you. I get it. I fully get it. Why do we have to change it? Because this is an opportunity when these applications like this come forward through an application, a planning application. This is the opportunity for Public Works to correct things. And the fact is that there's one entrance per one lot. So the problem is under this scenario and review, if we were to allow, if Public Works were to allow it, really that's what it's about. If Mono Public Works said, don't worry about it, then every one of your neighbors up and down the side road 15 could say, you know what, I want my second entrance too. So it's not that it's the scenario or the situation existing is bad. It's just that it's duplicating entrances above and beyond the policy of one driveway per rural residential lot. And Mono Public Works has the authority to, apply that policy to create continuity where and however they can. That what you've got there from Public Works is not unique at all. I've seen this on several occasions, at least anyway, where someone is coming forward under similar circumstances like you, or consent, and they've identified that, well, you've got a few extra entrances here from the 1930s or 40s that we really want to see go away, and this is our opportunity. This meaning Mono Public Works. This is our opportunity to do so. So no, one of them's to go. You only need one. And Matt Donor, though, and Mike Donmore in Public Works will work with your father to select the best and safest one, and the other one's going to have to be closed up. And that's quite common in applications like this. Really not much different if, for example, they said, oh, by the way, we need a road widening dedication of 3 meters. So there's many things that get to be applied through various departments, including Public Works, on applications like this. So that's why.
Anthony, does that clarify things, and are you in agreement?
Okay, I'll be honest, I'm not in agreement. I would like to know when that bylaw came into effect of the not being permitted to have 2 entrances. Because like I said, because it was so long ago, that's kind of throwing me off, to be honest. Because it seems like we're being penalized for something. Well, not me, but my father's being penalized for something that we purchased that I already had. I don't see anyone on the 15 side road looking at this and following suit because they probably already done so. I've also looked on the GIS mapping of the town on Mono, and within probably 20 minutes of work, me and my brother were looking at it, and we found at least a minimum of 50 driveways that have 2 separate entrances. So my concern would be, if we're going to change one that we didn't even build, why do others get to keep theirs?
Anthony, let me suggest this to you. You're asking for a variance here to put this second dwelling on. So if we refuse that, the variance, then you don't get your house. And you can keep your 2 entrances, but you don't get your house. And I can't say that in more firm terms. This is a condition of you getting the variance. So I got to put it to you, if for you it's a deal breaker to close up the one entrance, then frankly, I think your application it could be denied, and I'm not sure that's what you want.
Okay.
Bob, I'm Anthony's brother. Would I be able to ask a question?
Yes, of course.
Why would that work be at along with like the application for the existing entrance, be at the expense of the family?
David Trotman can answer that better, but it's your property, and you're the ones who are asking for a variance.
Sure, I can answer that. I can
Yeah,
answer
thank
And
that.
it is our, yeah, the thing is, as my brother stated, our neighbor is one of the original owners of one of these 10-acre parcels, so he could tell you the whole lot. Like, I don't know if the concern is that this driveway would be, one of the entrances would be
Oh,
used for that tiny home specifically. If you look at the site plan, it's impossible. It's nowhere even near that
oh,
that plot. So I'm trying to make sense of this, and it's a dirt road, dirt driveway. I'm sorry, I just
sure,
don't understand the
sure.
premise.
For all kinds of reasons, sorry, is it No, Michael. Michael, it's for all kinds of reasons. It's cumulative. And so if everybody gets a second entrance, you know what? Maybe everyone should have a third and fourth entrance too. Why the hell not? And so, Public Works says, you know what? Let everybody have whatever they want. I know that your parents bought it that way, but they bought the scenario. I won't call it Public Works might call it a problem, but I'll call it a scenario. So, unbeknownst to them, I guess it wasn't made aware through their purchase and sale. Unfortunately, they bought into a scenario where they had one entrance too many, and as far as I know from Public Works, neither were approved. So this is Public Works. This is Public Works. This is a smoke alarm. I bought the house without a smoke alarm. Why do I need to put one in now?
David, David, I kind of agree with the applicants on this. I've got to say, it sounds like a power from bureaucrats, and I don't think we should have more driveways than one thing another. But in fairness, if you drive up and down the roads, there certainly was driveways, and people didn't know to change them or whatever, and they're not abusing them. I don't
Could
think.
be, but we don't know what all those other uses are.
And so I don't think we should be making this as a power play. I don't think it's part of the Committee of Adjustment to say that, but I have pretty strong feelings on this as well. If you go and put a driveway into a lot, no matter what it is, I think the township wants business. They want happy ratepayers, et cetera. And if they want that, in fact, we should be making this as easy as we can. And one of those things is access to a roadway. That's one of the few damn things that the municipality really has to maintain. And I think we should be giving them access to that. Now, that's not saying we should give them 2 or 3 accesses. I don't think that. But to put an extra burden of dollars on and red tape to get an extra driveway onto something like this, I don't agree with it at all. I really don't. I think the applicant has got a good point. And I looked at the driveway today. I don't think it's unsafe at all. It's certainly a U driveway on and off, but it's been there for a long time. I know it's been there for a long time because I had friends that lived in the house 4 to the east of that. So did a lot of visiting there 10 or 15 years ago. Anyway, that's just my thought on it too. And this Committee of Adjustment is not the place to solve that. But I really think that the roads department would be an awful lot better looking after potholes and worrying about something like that. Here end of
the messenger. I'm simply passing on the comments that came in from Public Works.
Please pass that along. Please pass that along, because I feel just as strong.
So what would have to happen, I think, is committee is going to Public Works can consider the backpedal on that recommendation, but I don't know that they would. And I don't know it would be wise for committee to simply remove it because it's a standard policy for public works. It's probably best, in my view, to leave it in and let the applicant deal with, negotiate with public works if that's what it comes down to. I get that the driveway isn't an issue per se, but it is providing an additional entrance that would normally not be gotten, and so they are simply
I can tell you a little story
identifying
and why
that
I
entrance
feel.
policy requirements, saying we want to record.
I can tell you an example
I
of
use my
why
smoke
I.
alarm policy. If I didn't,
David,
the best,
can we
Jerry,
let-
I can tell you is that I bought the house without a smoke alarm. Why do I need to?
I don't think
now?
I don't think
And
that's
the
I don't
FDO
think that's the same thing, David, at all.
The
It's
smoke
not the
alarm
same
is-
thing. Like I say, you're
Well,
giving
it may not be
access.
the best now.
The smoke alarm is to
You're
save lives.
either giving access to the roads, which our road ratepayers
A
pay
safe,
for,
a safe
or you're
entrance to
not.
save lives too. I mean, look, at the end of the day, okay, but Jerry, this has been a long-standing Mono public works policy.
I know it has,
So,
and like
mean,
the applicant, I can drive
that
up and down my road, and within 2 miles, I can find 3 of those driveways. So it's either
right, but
push, shove, or
I
whatever.
get it. I understand,
So,
but this is
yeah,
Mono's public works opportunity
I guess I'm saying maybe it needs to
to
be
adhere
changed.
to their policy, and that's what they're doing. So
guys,
here's my suggestion. Well, here's my suggestion.
David, let me.
I would
do
say
my
leave
job
it in
fair.
and let. Sure.
I would say this: if Mr. Dunmore wants to go and meet and one thing another and whatever and have that discussion, I think that's fine, and I think it should be, and I think the applicant would be more than, or any of the ratepayers would be more than willing to do that. But I think as an overhanded way, I think it's really wrong for us to be putting that through on a meeting and as a condition. I can tell you a story about that right now, and I'm going to. I had land rented within 3 miles of here, and you could move from one farm down to the other on a gravel road that wasn't very busy with the combine, and go between the guy's maple trees to get into the driveway. I had one of the road guys, and it wasn't one of the local ones now, go down and put a big maple tree across that so I couldn't get in. So hence I had to take the header off the combine, drive down another half a mile, go in, put the header back on the combine, and carry on. And that was because he didn't like where the farm driveway was. And that had been done for years. And so I guess it's got my back up, and I'm saying the roads department had better give access to people under a reasonable condition without trying to put extra force on some kind of an application like this. And I appreciate, again, I'm not saying that now's the time to sort it out if it needs sorted out, but better make sure we're equal to everybody. Here endeth my lesson.
Thanks, Jerry. Eric, I'm interested in your thoughts on this issue.
First of all, David's comments were about background that he's providing of discussions that he's had with the public works. But if you look at the condition that this committee is being asked to approve, it's different. Not what David is saying. Our only condition that we're putting on here is that if a new location is desired, the existing entrances shall be closed. That's the condition that's before this committee. Whether or not that's going to help or interfere with the applicant's negotiations with public works is not a matter that we're going to decide tonight. I mean, I'm happy with the conditions as they are drafted here by the planning department.
And I don't disagree with that, Eric. I don't.
Yeah. And I'm happy with them too. So I think that the point is well made that this isn't something the Committee of Adjustment is going to negotiate with. So Eric, if you're happy with the condition as it is, Jerry, if you are, so am I. And
I'll move that the application be approved subject to the conditions outlined in the planning report.
Thank you. And Jerry?
I will second that.
And I vote for that as well. So that is unanimous. It is approved. And that thank you committee. Anthony, looks like you're going to have some discussions with the Mono Public Works, and that, and no doubt you'll be able to resolve it one way or another. But your first and biggest hurdle is what we've just approved is the variance.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, very good. So that one is approved. Anthony and Michael, have a good night. I don't know your wife's name there, Anthony.
Caitlin.
Caitlin.
Yeah. Thank you for joining. There will be a way to sort this out, but you're going to get your house.
Okay, I
Thank
appreciate
you.
that. Thank you so much.
Appreciate all your
Thank
help.
you. Nice to meet you all.
Have a good night.
No
Take care. Have a good
problem. Thank you. Okay. Moving right along. Our second application number A is in Apple 04-23. John and Jennifer, if I mispronounce your name, I apologize. Lagerquist?
Lagerquist. Very close.
Lagerquist. I should, I'm a beer drinker. I like ales, not lagers. So I should have figured that one out. Thank you, Jennifer. John and Jennifer Lagerquist. I'll ask you later what country that's from. At any rate, I'm digressing.
Sweden.
Sorry.
Sweden.
Thank you.
Swedish.
Thank you. Subject property, concession 1, west east part lot 4, here Ontario Street. Roll 5-12120. Official plan is Greenbelt, protected countryside and rural. Zoning is rural A. Purpose, the applicant is proposing to build 2 dwellings on 1 lot and is seeking relief from section 5(1)II, a secondary dwelling unit shall only be permitted on lots that have a minimum lot area of 10 hectares, which is 25 acres. The subject property is 6.5 hectares or 15.98 acres. That's my introduction. With that, David, can you please give us the background? David,
Yeah, sure, Bob. So this property, as with the other one, is seeking to have a second, well, actually 2 houses, but of course a preceding primary house followed by a secondary house and a workshop on a lot
Well, not a
with
workshop.
about 15, almost 16 acres.
Yeah, Jennifer, when David's finished, I'll give you an opportunity to clarify.
Okay.
If you can wait,
Okay.
thank you.
Clearly, a second house on a lot less than 25 acres needs a primary dwelling first, but I recognize that in short order, that's what the applicant intends to do, to build a primary dwelling and then commence construction with a second dwelling such that the lot area has less than 25 acres. And I've kind of alluded to that in my report that, well, okay, there's no houses there right now. So how could they be deficient of the section in the bylaw? Well, we know because the primary one is going to happen sooner than later, and they can put a house there, provided to get all other regulatory requirements. So in this case, for example, the Conservation Authority recognizes that both houses and the workshop could be outside of the regulated area, which is a much smaller area than the previous application, just by way of an example. So a clearance letter, they're suggesting that all that would be needed is a clearance letter, not a conditional permit. And MVCA will look at that and issue accordingly. Now, again, we had comments from our town engineer, and they had no comment. They looked at grading, they looked at stormwater, and in their view, potable water is achievable as are septic beds, and so those are covered under and governed under the Ontario Building Code, and they really had no comment. Public Works, though, did have comments again on entrance, and they noticed the one at the north part of the property just going to their comments now. They want to ensure that there's a good sight line for an entrance. Well, you need an entrance, and again, they want one entrance, and they're of course going to review with the applicant if committee chooses to grant this minor variance, that there be an entrance in a suitable location with proper safety sight lines and the rest of it. And that's alluded to on page 6 of my report at the bottom, page 2 of 6 of my report at the bottom. And again, it goes to their entrance policy guidelines. So I have not much more to say about that. Beyond that, the conditions are standard, similar to the previous application. The one thing you'll have to do, though, is again a minimum distance separation. I suspect it's going to be a negative. I don't know that there's any livestock or livestock capable of accommodating structures in the area, but I put it in there to check mark that box, and it can be done easily enough. And beyond that, the only other thing I've noted is that the workshop is slated at being about 6,000 square feet, and that's the needle getting into the yellow zone a bit for the average rural residential homeowner in the area who might say, how big is that thing going to be? So that's fine as long as it's for permissible uses. You know what those are. They're under section 20. They're for personal, not commercial. But because of its size, it will get triggered for site plan control. So we'll see that back at the time you have a permit application for the workshop, and we're going to put you through a process called site plan control first. That was an amendment in the bylaw by the previous council, on which some of those members still exist on the current council. I can talk to you more about that, but it deals with the site elements of design of the workshop and things of that nature, the materials and the height. So as long as it's things of a nominal height and size, and I've alluded to that in the recommendation as a condition, I'm pretty good with it. I think it's probably just fair to say that one house should start before the other, so no one's calling up and saying, how come there's two going on at the same time? But I know there's some logistical details and challenges there, but again, nothing that in my view is insurmountable. And the rest are really quite standard in my view. So I don't have much more to say about it, and I'm open to questions from committee.
Okay, Jennifer, now it is your turn. Please.
Okay, thank you. We've owned this property for quite some time. It's always been a dream of ours to build our retirement home there. We're so graced that our daughter, son-in-law, and our have the same vision as we do. And our plan was to build our smaller downsized and retire there forever. And daughter and on our grandchildren feel the same way. They would like to share our life with us and have the opportunity to be close to us so that we can have that opportunity. The workshop, probably a bad word. It's not really a workshop. What we're planning is to have a facility big enough, if we're lucky enough to build, to store a tractor, a snowplow, a snow parade, and a big lawn tractor to put a big lawn in. You know, we'll have bicycles and kids will have. We're just looking for a structure that we can fit out of our garage if we're given that. That's really what it's for. We just made it big so that we'd have the opportunity to do that. And that's our. As far as the driveway, I think someone had mentioned already that we could have one driveway. We both, as my husband and I, who's working unfortunately tonight, our daughter-in-law agreed that we could drive and design it so that we both could share one drive at a safe spot on the property. John and I have been enforcing the property for the last, since we owned it, all along the perimeter of that the farms allowed him to, even though we've been great crops, but just grow on it all the time. But, it's just the right time in our life to go ahead. We're almost retired, so for us, it's the perfect time to go ahead with this. And for our daughter and son-in-law and our grandbabies, it's also a perfect time to build our forever home. So that's our vision for it.
Very good. Thank you, Jennifer. I don't know what the connection was there. At least I was getting you breaking up a lot, but I think I got the whole gist of it. That's not your fault. Jerry, Jerry, are you still there, Jerry? I don't see Jerry. So,
Sorry. Yeah, I actually muted Jerry because I realized it was feedback coming from Jerry's line that was making it
oh,
break. That was making it break up, but I just did it there towards the end. Sorry about that. But
yeah.
I thought I unmuted him, but now it's looking like he's still muted.
Okay. While you work on that, Eric, let's start with you then, please.
I don't have any comments or questions.
Thank you. Susan, are you getting Jerry back there?
I don't. I have a keep muted, and then I have allow to unmute, which I've given him to do, but I'm not seeing. Jerry, can you hear us? Sorry.
I've got a really funny symbol in the lower left that says caller one, which was Jerry.
Yeah, I see that
Yeah,
as well. But he can call in on his phone though, too. So he
he's
may still
called
be
in.
doing that.
Yeah.
Jerry,
Oh, he did before.
if you can hear this, call in again. I don't know, Susan, see if you can resolve that. In the meantime, I normally, as the chair, always give my comments last. So while Susan tries to sort this out, I agree with Eric. I have no questions, comments, or whatever, and I support this application.
Actually, I did miss. Sorry, Bob. I did miss one comment I had.
Oh, yes, please.
Just in the very last condition, David, the conveyance of an identified fourth line road widening. What's the reference to fourth line there? Right at the very last paragraph of your.
Oh, and I think we're on here, Ontario.
Should be sure Ontario. All right.
Yeah,
So
my
we'll
apologies.
amend that then.
Yeah, if Public Works requires it, and they may not, so
No, they may not
sorry about
understand.
that.
That's just the reference to fourth line. I meant that earlier and then forgot.
So do we
I'll
need
make
to
that correction
change
on my
fourth
report.
line road widenings to Highway 10
No, to here Ontario.
to
Here,
Huron,
Ontario.
Ontario? Sorry. I grew up down in Southport Credit, and Highway 10 was called Highway 10, and this Huron, what's 10 and Huron, Ontario, I get confused. So that's so David, are we changing that to any identified Huron, Ontario road
Correct.
widening?
Correct. Thanks, Eric, for the note. That's right.
Okay, and so Jennifer, that's clear.
I'm
Thank
sorry.
you.
Yes. So for us, we'd have. I'm not exactly sure what that means. So tell me in layman's term, what exactly widening of the road? What?
Public. I don't know that they will, Jennifer, but Public Works could take a meter or two of your property without cost for
Oh,
future road widening.
I
I'll
see.
crystal ball here for you. I think the answer is going to be no. We don't need a widening, but I put it in there just with an abundance of cautions
Okay.
get for Public Works to flush it out one way or another.
Okay. Okay. Good to know. Thank you. Thank you
And,
for.
and,
Very
and
standard condition.
Okay.
I was
Thank,
just going to say exactly that. It's standard. So
okay.
Well, we're waiting for Jerry. Isn't it only done, David, when they pave roads?
It's a dirt road.
A paved
So-
road has to be wider than a gravel road.
David, you're muted. David, you're muted.
We have taken road widenings as been in the past where necessary.
Yeah, is it only when they pave it though? That's the only time I've ever seen it done. Is when
But
they
again,
pave
I think
road.
the answer is going to be no. We don't need one. But it's
unlikely that stretch of here in Ontario will get paved.
no, it wouldn't be. No, it would be where a roadway is identified as going to the next level as a minor collector, or if it's simply deficient on width, that's when to be taken. But again, I think this condition is going to be we don't need it. It's there as a standard
Okay,
condition.
okay. Okay,
I
I
think
think
Jerry's back.
we can
No,
put that to rest. Jerry, are you back?
yeah, I'm back. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Sorry,
Eric,
Jerry.
Yeah, no, not a problem. I don't know, it just dropped there. Anyway,
Jerry,
no, I don't have
Jerry,
any.
it's your turn.
Yeah, I don't have any questions really on it, except the size of the outbuilding, and certainly it's well, it's twice as big as an agriculture barn would be. The barn on my farm was 40 by 80 sort of thing. That's 3,200 square feet. So that was my only question on it. But other than that, no, I don't have any questions about the application at all.
Okay. With that, if there is anyone from the public online, if this is now your opportunity to ask any questions or comments. And seeing none, then I'm going to ask committee members, somebody to make a motion, please.
I will so move.
Well, I'll make the motion to approve the application on the terms and outlined in the planning memo, with the exception that in the very paragraphs G sub 3 little i's, the reference is changed to here Ontario from Fourth Line Road.
Okay, very good. So Jerry, Eric's moved that. Are you seconding it, please?
I will second it, yes.
Thank you, and I agree with it, so that's passed.
Oh, thank you so much. That's wonderful news. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Very good, Jennifer. Good luck with everything. So you've got a lot of work to do, but
Oh, yes, we do. We do indeed.
yeah.
But it's something to look forward to, and what a great place to retire to. It would be amazing for all of us.
You may have to get, Jennifer, you may have to get Fred's bales off there first, or maybe you got them off last night, did he?
I think he was working on it.
He was yesterday, I know.
Yeah, I think he was working on. I'm not sure he did today. I didn't get over there today to have a good look, but yeah, he's been so great taking care of the land, and you know, we've been really blessed to own it. So it's such a great dream. So we're so excited, and our whole
Good
family.
luck.
Excellent.
Good luck with it, for
Good
sure.
luck with everything.
Okay, thank you very much.
Very good. So that one is approved. Thank you, Jennifer. Have a good evening.
Thank you, you as well. Thank you very much. I'll tell my husband when he gets home from work. He'll be thrilled.
Wonderful.
Okay,
Wonderful.
have a good evening.
Thanks, you too, Jennifer. All right, committee and staff, moving on. Our next one, number 8, other business. David, Susan, other business, question always is, do we have applications so that we will have an August meeting?
Yes, we've got, I think, 2, Bob, coming up for August, as far as I know. One would be 3 Starview Crescent, which is a consent infill, and well, I don't know about number 2 Buena Vista yet at this point. Again, I don't know. I'll confer with you, Susan, after tomorrow maybe, and see if there's more. I know that 3 Buena Vista is sort of on our radar. I can't remember if there's any more. Maybe you can weigh in on this as well.
Yeah, we've got 7 Randy Avenue. We've got the Bruce Trail consent application, and then we've got 2 Buena Vista, and then the 3 Starview. So those are all sort of things that we'll be trying to determine which ones are ready for August next week when we have our planning meeting.
Okay, so can I ask, as soon as you have this, if you can send the links either to me or to the whole committee, if the email system is working again, so that we can look at those. Committee, correct me if I'm wrong. Did I not send out, or Susan, you can correct me. We know the one, the 2 Buena Vista one, which may not be ready, but I did want to give people a heads up in the event
Yeah.
that you were taking a trip to, as I affectionately call it, the sunny south of Mono, and drive past to Buena Vista, just so that you can see that lot. We may or may not have it for the
Yeah,
next meeting.
and the thing to note about the applications, like before you get the complete information in your package, is that like that one in particular has gone through several different revisions through conversations with the planning department. So it's changed from what is on the website at the moment. We just got the recent resubmission, David, I think, earlier this week. Oh, it might have been late last week because I was away. So it's going to change. Yeah.
So we asked our town engineer for comments, and they weighed in with some significant concerns on the original application. And the applicant's designer has been scurrying to try and come up with a smaller house. So I haven't seen it in this past week. Obviously, I've been away on holiday, but I'll be looking at that when I get back next week. And yeah, it may or may not be on at this point to Buena Vista, but I think 3 Star View may be ready. As for the Bruce Trail one, I think that's only come in recently then, Susan. So the one for Randy might be the second one up for August at this point.
Okay.
Yeah.
So regardless of the specifics, you're working on a few things, which is great, but we will have an August meeting. I will send that out to everybody just to confirm that. So
And
I have,
Bob, oh, sorry. That would be the 24th, is that right?
bear with me. Let me get my calendar here. Yes, yeah. Thursday, August 24th. Always the these are 5 Thursdays in August. Go figure. So I think we had another one of these. It's not the last Thursday, it is the 4th Thursday. I'll send that out to everybody. So yes, thank you, Susan. Susan, David, anything else? No.
Not for me, Bob, at this point, no.
Eric, any other business?
No, I'm good. Thanks.
Thanks. Jerry?
No, we're good. Thank you.
Thank you. Everybody, Susan is doing a great job sending us out the decisions, and members are doing a great job sending them back to her saying that this is what we approve. So thank you, everybody, for that help with that. With that, seeing nothing else, then we will adjourn. My computer says 7:58.
Sounds good.
Yep. Thank you, everybody.
All right. Good
Thank
night.
you.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night. Have a good evening.